Kalista ban for Team WE is kind of being dared by JDG or almost required here.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
they go for the
should be
Yone.
Kalista. Yeah. I'm expecting Kalista. Lucian off the board, Ashe off the board. I mean, for Taeun, like, it might actually be a Draven lane or... Okay, Rumble's up. So yeah, Rumble made it all the way through. Again, Rumble, the Galio ban too. Yep. So...
Kind of their plan.
Yeah. Gotta believe, though, could be a Taeun Kalista now. Because I would not give Pays Kalista. That is one of the Thanos champs for Pays. And with all these power picks up, of course, Vi also snuck her way through the draft and might be in the hands of Monkey.
We also have Jace that's still up there looming around. If either of these teams want to grab that one up in the first round, I know.
Yeah,
very popular
Jace is falling off a little bit. Still pretty strong, though.
Yeah.
And definitely something that Scout can play mid to, which is something to keep in mind. I will say Jace goes down in prio a little bit when I see Vi. We have seen JDG have some side lane errors in this series, and the ability to attack Jace in the side lane with a Vi, always really good. So, just curious if we see a Kalista deny.
Kaisa.
Oh boy.
Okay, so WE are already really signaling what their comp wants to do here, Cubby. And are we really just going to pass Kalista up? I mean, Xayah is a great answer into what WE's already showing as a pretty dive-hungry comp. So
it would give Missing Rakan, too, and Missing's Rakan is historically just fantastic. I will say that Alistar is up, and I think Alistar is just a really strong /OP champion. There's no Silas available, too, so you don't even have to, like, use a ban on that if you would be scared of that moving forward. So something else to keep in mind. As we'll see if JDG want to grab Missing his Rakan.
Lovers duo.
And in Missing's Rakan, this is, like, he's 1 and 2 on the champion, actually, this split, which is quite surprising, but...
Yeah, that does shock me.
We go to Missing all-time stats when it comes to Rakan. Yeah, his win rate is pretty disgusting.
Locked in. Alistair, as you continue to be a bit of a fortune teller here on the desk, Cubby. Likely to be the response from Vampire.
It's the last engaged support map. It's no skill in fortune telling this one. It's just a really good pick. I do like the start for WE. Real ability for Kaisa to go attack. And yeah, Missing that Rakan, 59 games played, 78% win rate. Again, he is fantastic on this champion. So, no surprise to the Alistar here for Vampire. We'll say that the highlight package we had before our game 1, which is a while back now, thinking about that one, Slayer, it featured pretty good engage from Vampire's Alistar that really turned the game around for Team WE. So, always something to look out for when he gets his hands on this pick. I know we've seen some ups and downs from Vampire, but the recent ups from him have been a big part of this surge for Team WE.
What are we going to look to take away from both of these teams, though, in this second wave of bans?
Just junglers and top laners.
Yeah, junglers
maybe
and top
a Jace
laners,
ban here. But then again, it's Cube, so I don't know if I'm as concerned about a Jace from Cube. I would
probably
Ambessa for sure. The Aatrox Rumble matchup is not one that I love or get super thrilled about, but it is a champ that Cube does like to play, so could think about denying that one as well. He only has one Jace game so far this split, and I just don't think that Jace is a WE champ.
I wonder if there's any other mid lane dive buddy-esque pairings you don't want to see.
Could ban Ahri.
Get with Monkey. Yeah, so like Ahri, if you're afraid of like an Aurora instead of the Ahri, you can take away Aurora. I wonder if they'll go that way with this final ban, just to kind of like neutralize. There's already, like we talked about, prevalent dive comp. WE, you got to think they're going to play that way, so they take away the Ahri.
Yeah, so now, I mean, could be an Aurora as
I'm not
probably
even
the safest blind here for Karis. I will say Annie has gotten a lot of changes, and we have seen some teams try and play Annie. I actually don't hate it here, but of course with top lane showing, they could just take their top laner and hide mid if they don't want to, prio pick something like an Aurora. And I will say I do like that. So Cassante into Rumble, it's fine. You just get to be Cassante later on. And I believe Cassante actually saw some buffs on this patch. Or recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty certain he got a
Yeah, it was his W base damage, which is really big when he's in his all-out form, too. So that's big.
Scout willing to play the Annie. I don't hate it. Like, just that snap tipper stun into like a bunch of people diving on top of your Xayah or even yourself can really change these fights. And that's the point I really want to hit home here as we get to the end of this draft, Cubbies. For the first time in this series, right? We got 2 games where JDG had to be the more proactive team. WE can kind of skate by scaling. We're not flipping the script here in this game.
Oh, Shun. I thought Shun was going to show the Kindred. His Kindred is very, very, very good. But likely, I think Wukong makes more sense for the comp. Kindred definitely Shun's special, and this is going to be a really squishy comp here for JDG, but they will have the Lamb's Respite, as Karis has the opportunity to counterpick. I will say, like, Orianna could be really nice here for the Wombo. Yeah, that looks to be the play. You can survive the lane against Annie. Annie did see a lot of changes. I mean, the damage that they gave her Q, they gave her Q 30 extra base damage, rank 5 this patch. That's a lot of damage. For Annie, they nerfed her, or buffed her mana cost. They brought him down, then gave her more passive damage on the Tibbers as well. Annie's gotten a lot of changes in the last couple patches. We have seen a couple mid laners like have her sneak out. I will say I'm not the best in terms of this new Annie and some of her scenarios that we have, but again, a champion that has seen a lot of changes in the last couple patches and has started to really sneak her way into the meta. So for me, point and click engage for JDG, it's quite big, but on the side of Team WE, they are pretty tanky and have some ways to actually deal with this and get out of it. I mean, you have an Alistar, you got a Cassante, right? That's pretty good defense and some nice displacement against that Lamb's Respite can always be valuable. So I think if lanes don't go well for JDG, again, ability for Team WE to maybe bounce back in the groupings.
I'm interested to see the intricacies, though, of, you know, an Alistar Cassante frontline with the fact that you are still playing Vi Kai'Sa, right? Because there's still this, like, intricate dive-based portion of this comp. But my big takeaway going into this Game 3 is that WE, knowing that they should have they had so much of an opportunity to sweep this series, maybe should have. Probably should have. Now in Game 3, they're putting a proactive comp in their hands the first time. This is a comp that will be able to compete in the mid-game. It is very different to how stylistically we saw some of these players play in the last 2 games of this series.
I will say, again, I just think that WE has to be careful about picking their spots. I still think that they have a scaling advantage in this game. And I just think that they have to be wary early. The ability for Kindred to invade, impact the lanes, and maybe blow up the game is, I think, what JDG and Shun are going to be looking for. Again, Shun's Kindred, pretty iconic, synonymous with him, as I think it's the second most known champ outside the Nidalee. So we'll see if it pays off, because it's a very squishy comp they have, just given that they did go with something like the Kindred instead of the Wukong.
A lot of champions coming out in this game you don't see too often in the LPL. Fun to see. Also, a bit of a change here for PaYS. Going with the Ghost on the Xayah, just trying
and the Conqueror?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's interesting.
Fights. Wow.
Usually that's a lethal tempo. I will say, I really like Ghost when you don't need cleanse, and he doesn't need cleanse this game. So, again, this is a winning lane for the Xayah Rakan, and Ghost is just a very powerful summoner spell. But I don't know if the Conqueror is actually... let's do some homework here about what we've been running on Xayah, because I haven't seen Conqueror on Xayah of late.
I can't say I have either. Do get to see this vertical jungle path start out here as they try and get Shun accelerated. Missing it a face check and a double knockup right on cue into Vampire and Taeyun, who, like you mentioned, Cubby, going to have to sack a lot of control of this lane. And I love that JG are indexing further into this bot side, knowing that Shun is just going to be able to constantly be a threat to pop out onto this bot side whenever, knowing he's clearing all of these bot side camps for the first rotation. Monkey goes back.
Oh,
okay.
I will say, like, recently PaYS has been playing some Conqueror Xayah and solo queue, and same with Deft. So maybe some new tech emerging that I was not 100% familiar with. Yeah, Viper too. So, all right, looks like this is some new tech. We'll see if it pays off for PaYS. Again, does have that Ghost. It is nice, like Xayah. A lot of times you want to fight with that W cooldown. That's a really big steroid that you can use. So that can help you like stack up some Conqueror stacks against Feathers. Ripping through people can help you get some free Conqueror stacks as well. So I can see some of the theory of it. I haven't seen it hit the Rift yet. So yeah, just curious adaptation for PaYS. I really like the Ghost, though. I think that Ghost is really slept on right now. I know that Hans Sama's been running it a little bit. In games where you can get away with it, definitely a fan, and this is one for PaYS where I think it's good.
Twitch predictions still rocking with JDG, by the way.
They're so squishy, man.
We'll say, you guys, y'all up in Twitch, been with JDG this entire time, and the percentages slowly come down every game we've gone into, so it's good to see some more people getting turned over towards the WE hot streak. Things to look for, though, in this early game by this point, Cubby, is I'm just waiting to see who wins what I like to call Crab roulette here for Shun, trying to get that first stack on the Kingdred. See if he wins.
A Gamba fan, I see. As roll slots.
Loses hard. Yep.
That was a 7, a cherry, and a blank space savage.
So he's not going to get that first coveted stack. Also, do see that.
Look at Monkey.
Yeah, he's going to be down camps, right? He's got triple buffed, and
he does have 4.
Yeah, he does.
But
he's spotted.
Yeah, okay. That's actually really nice, and JDG holds the wave. So that's a pretty dangerous spot, actually, for Taeyun and Vampire to be in. As, yeah, you called it out. Of course, Shun knew the ahead, did find the bonus buff. And actually hasn't even taken that top crab yet. I will say on the Kindred, if you wait to take that crab, you can roll the mark on it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shun actually picks up his first mark on that top crab.
That's what you like to see. Just he's manipulating the odds of the crab.
Yeah, he got it. Look at that.
Yep, there he goes. Okay, so grabs the first mark. Maybe try and see if he can steal away some of these top side camps.
He's going to look mid first.
Down, or he's going mid. Scout having stun up. Karis is just so dead. So caught out. The flash. Kind of had to burn it, but it's painful too. Great pick.
Yeah, I think Karis having the wave at that state at this point of the game is actually really poor. Because, again, like you should be able to guess that Shun's going to be on that top side. You have all the wards on the bot side, and that wave just being even after the bounce and the setup from the Annie. Definitely a really powerful combo on the Karis, who does lose his flash, lose his life, lost his TP, and is going to be down now to Scout. So JDG, they could play fast here through mid. Again, Annie brings really nice setup and burst damage for this Kindred. So that looks to be the early game plan here for JDG.
I mean, such a snowballing champion here. Is Kelsey hits us another cool quote here from Pays. I don't remember the most difficult part because I've always been positive. You know what, Pays?
Hold on.
I can't believe you're an AD carry player. Okay,
that's what we call selective memory, all right? Now, if we want to go back, one of the most successful golfers of all time, Jack Nicklaus, famous for if you ask him about a winning putt, he will give you every detail of said putt. But his record, he has the most majors ever won. He won 18 majors, fun fact. Was also a runner-up 19 times in a major. If you ask him about a putt he missed or a major he lost, he will know nothing about it to this day. So I like that. I actually think it's very powerful if used well, and we have seen Pays using it well. As again, he has been really the most positive force on JDG, a team that we have been a little bit critical of times, not living up to the expectation, the consistency, and Pays has really been that consistent factor no matter what form JDG's been in. Pays has been nothing but solid. He's been one of the best ADs we've had in LPL, unquestionably.
Sounds like what I'm hearing is that Pays has already forgotten what happened in Game 2, which is a very good thing for these JDG players. Hope that translates over to some of the ones that got a bit more exposed in that matchup. Got a front row view to the Gromp destruction, just trying to be a bit of a nuisance as this bottom lane lead tries to grow even further for Pays.
Dead.
They're going to use Tibbers to take aggro here.
Yeah.
Try. I mean, okay, you know what? It's too clean. Tibbers. Tibbers can get the job done. Cube gets a big shield.
Shun's coming though.
Got Shun with Lamb's respite. If they can time this well enough, should be able to survive. The wave gets back towards the turret. Unstoppable form. Cube has bought so much space here, and JDG are really stunted. They're going to finally commit to the dive. They'll finally grab it. Lamb's respite used defensively. Karis is here. They're going to chase down Monkey on the top side, though, as well. Pays going to flash after. Grab the feats of warfare.
Okay,
they do sacrifice Shun, though. But it's still a JDG win after they grab the 2-for-1.
Karis got a shutdown. Meanwhile, W's bot lane, they're actually proxying, but Vampire just hit 6. Does Taeyun hit 6 off this creep? He might.
Oh my god, Vampire, you mad lad.
Just
Equalizer down. Vampire, the turret ramping up here. Don't know how many more turret shots he can take. Taeyun's waiting on cooldowns as well. The wave is thinning. They're going to have to go in now if they want it. And Taeyun perfectly times the flash to save the dive.
Taeyun was so close to 6 there. He actually killed a melee creep. I thought that would give him 6. Just barely missed it. That said, does find the kill. Well played by Taeyun and Vampire to answer. And shout out to Cube and Monkey as well. I know they both ended up going down, but you called it out, Slayer. They bought a lot of time in order to absorb that wave. They actually found the kill onto Ala, and that XP between top laners is not nearly as grim as what it could have or should have been if Cube went down immediately on that dive. I was surprised they pulled the trigger when they did because Shun was rotating and they went before Shun got there. Which for me was why that dive ended up being so sloppy. If Shun's there immediately, it would have been really bad. That's going to be an insta-ult from Pays.
Yep, gotta respect him. Shun picks up 2 of the 3 grubs. I think he supersedes control the third one over towards Monkey. But Scout is in a pretty precarious spot himself. Does have the flash. He's just going to go down, and Scout's just going to flash back over the wall. Get to safety.
Okay. That's going to be Grub. There's no Lambs for Spite up. So to make sure that they deny the 3 grubs, that means that no pets spawn.
Yep.
This Monkey doesn't have flat, or Smite, sorry.
So Vampire's going to
Scout
play Bodyguard.
Vampire's no ult.
Yeah, I was going to say, no Unbreakable will either. A lot of
Honestly,
little poking and prodding.
You know what? I actually like that from Vampire because, I mean, A, he got away with it, but B, I think he was trying to open up some space for Cube to actually TP bot, and because of that, he's going to catch this full wave, so not bad. Again, early game, I mean, we're 10 minutes in. JDG is a really squishy comp, right? And there's a lot of displacement on the WE comp, which I think is really nice when you go up against the Lambs for Spite, because that's what's going to try and make that JDG comp be a little bit tankier. The fact that Shun can press R and help out those health bars. Well, you headbutt someone out. You can Cassante push and ult someone out too, right?
Yep.
I think that, like, pretty much what we're getting at is that as this game goes on, I do think that there's a world where JDG kind of runs out of damage against this front line and some of the tanks that WE have. So, and this Orianna versus Annie match, we can see it being a little bit rough here. As, yeah, Karis just going to keep on playing around with those bases. I actually really like Karis went Gathering Storm. This is a pretty, like, you don't really need Scorch in this matchup as the Orianna because you end up winning this one pretty quickly. And to be fair, too, this series has gone super late and has been super haywire, so the value out of that's nice. We have the pause. Oh, Dragon.
Quickness.
Good stall.
Stalls. Dragon scared by Shun. Who does have the Lamb's Respite to get over the wall if he wants. Cube trying to force the issue. Taeyun flies in with the Killer Instinct. There is the Lamb's Respite. Can anyone get knocked out of it, though? Shun's going to get himself out, but missing it Pays are left in the pit and left to fall down to the chainsaw running, known as Taeyun. As Vampire says, serve up another one towards my AD carry. All 3 kills go the way of Taeyun's Kaisa.
I mean, this is not a good look for JDG. I don't know why they were looking for this fight without Scout here, frankly, because I think that Scout is by far the strongest member, and, you know, he's the one where at this point of the game, if Annie's there, you can have a real pop and actually do some damage. As we see here, I mean, Karis.
Karis, Shockwave down, Tibbers falls. One more Q, though. Scout should be able to pick up the kill. That shield's going to provide a lot of value. Misses the ball. Push and pull this 1v1, but it's Karis to flash and secure another kill. WE are running wild right now heading into mid-game. That's 4 kills in about 30 seconds.
I mean, this should be a WE win. Like from this game state, I will, like, they should be favored in this game. Look at Taeyun. He's got 4 kills on a Kaisa. Look at how much tankier WE's comp gets. Okay, looks like replay, Karis... His TP was canceled with the Tibbers, which is why Scout didn't have it for that fight, and that ended up making a difference because Karis with ult, that Shockwave took down Scout, who is down a level and change now, and has another side lane death, which it's been quite the tally if we add up 3 games from this series, Slayer, of Scout dying in a side lane where he may not have to.
And as much as we've given so much credit over to Pays, right, the current top-tier player among, you know, those votes for the first round robin, for the current Rumble stage spot. It's him and a bunch of AL players. It's so intriguing how Pays and Taeyun are tied together as their own team's Mr. Consistent. Well, we've seen Pays in some big spots, Taeyun, you know, crumple in some bigger ones with the Ezreal game. This is a biggest spot as ever for your own Mr. Consistent award on Team WE to bring home this series.
I mean, if we're thinking about Team WE, like, how many wins is it going to take for them to actually, you know, be considered a legit team, to be respected? And in the LPL is not just a team that's out-kicking their coverage, but a team that might actually be able to compete. I don't think we've seen the best of JDG today, right? We haven't seen the best from either squad, but WE, again, continues to demand more respect on their name. I think that we have seen some good looks from them. Like, Monkey is playing good league. I feel very confidently about that. Cube in this tank role has actually fit this team really nicely. And we have seen better looks from Karis of late. And we've seen Taeyun be. I thought he was better earlier in the split, frankly. Before WE went on this run, he was kind of being a standout.
Yep.
But like this WE team, I mean, like what's the floor, what's the ceiling? I think it's a really interesting part about Group Ascent, and a team that went from again 0-6, where even in those series, like they were, being competitive against teams like Top Esports, taking games off of AL. Now to
Scout.
Potential 6-game win streak.
Oh, Vampire. We're going crazy. There's the shockwave I was waiting for. And Unbreakable Will making a good dive until Timbers comes out and says, you're not taking Scout down for free. Monkey traded for Scout's life.
And because of the flash from Scout, the initial ball carrier, that ball snapped back to Karis. So there was no shockwave. He put it on the second one as the Vampire connected with the kill. Monkey stuck around a little bit too long. 8 the Timbers, 8 the death as... Shun does find his 4th mark. That is a nice spike on the Kindred. So definitely a little bit important to note. But still, WE, they're the team that's ahead, Slayer. And they're the team where, look at the tankiness. Like their comp is just so much easier to execute compared to JDG's.
Interesting first item. Big first item, too. I like this from Cube. The Kanik gets so much value into those solo lanes. He knows not only that it's such a good tank value item, but looking at the side lane assignments, right? Cubby's only ever going to run into AP. So it makes him unkillable in side lane threats.
Yeah, bummer to, like, the Iceborne can bring a lot of power. Sometimes that's a bummer. And we'll take a second look at this one. Look at the ball. Once the flash comes out, that ball snaps back to Karis. So not able to pull the shockwave combo then and there. And then Monkey just takes this one a little bit too long.
Oh, yeah, the second shot ruined it.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to go in and, like, actually finish off the kill. It's not necessary, so oopsie there from Monkey. I guess it's appropriate. I was just trying to praise him as being the strongest performer for WE, so, he's got to go down. That's my bad, WE fans at home. Sorry, Monkey. But still, see what he can do, because just the ease of execution this game for WE and just where they're at. Again, I feel like with this comp, if JDG wants to run this, they need to get ahead and they need to really snowball and run away with this game. They have not done that. This is a close game. And as time goes on, WE is going to be so much harder to take down later.
The only person I think is somewhat snowballed themselves into a big threat is Shun. All right, he's got 4th mark, 2-1. Very quickly on the way to try and get that Triforce done second. And that's why they picked this Kindred, right? You talked as much about missing on the Rakan is a big win con or a big win pick for him, but Shun on this Kindred is as well. As he gets the mid-tier 1 turret down, does have to burn his flash to get away from Vampire. Missing with the quickness. Gets a flash match here by Monkey. So win for JDG. They open a lot more of the map up and only have to pay the price of a solo summoner for now.
Rip from Pays was actually pretty close to finding a catch. I think that if a root connects, maybe there's a little bit more there for JDG, but TP's burned from the mid laners. And the next play from WE actually being scouted out by a nice board, dropped by, I assume, missing. They spotted both Karis and Vampire on the rotation. So, of course, Scout flashless and seems to be the target of some side lane focus here. And he's going to respect this one because his support gave him some nice info. So, Scout's like... Scout, he's like, he can't take that one. No more side lane deaths for Scout. He had the info there. No chance he was falling victim to that.
No chance. No chance in the world. Gold, scarily close by this point, but I'm glad that they threw up the player gold right now. The difference for me is the fact that kill allocation is pristine for WE. All 7 of their kills, Karis and Taeyun. The Orianna, the Kai'Sa.
That is, I'd say that's pretty ideal.
Yeah.
I'm about it this game.
Oh, here we go.
Ooh.
All right,
Never one without the other. We talked about the Nidalee and the Kindred again. Shun's 2 signature champions. Let's not this one for game 3.
I think that's a play on the Lamb, right?
Yeah.
I think that's I think that's a Kindred voice line actually, right? Never one without the other. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Well, let's see that Kindred in action. Maybe the Lamb's Respite as well. They're going to dive the Cassante, but without plates in a healthy wave, it's actually not really a dive because the turret gets turned off.
Cube.
So Cube in the 1 versus 4 going to go all out, pull missing away from him, and dash himself to safety. Hey, just the turret having to fall, and that'll just easily get traded by Karis and Monkey.
That's really well played by Cube, as he was able to get his way on out of that one. Shun going to try and play that wave all the way in. Will crash it. Going to try and cut Cube off. Cube has not spotted this one. And, of course, he has that magic resist, not the armor.
Yeah, Kraken Slayer is burning through that health bar, missing in a flash, knock up, charm, and send Cube to the gray screen. Courtesy of Shun, grabs himself a 5th mark, a 3rd kill, as he tries to be the Exodia player in this game for JDG. Monkey trying to be a bit annoying, canceling Missing's back. Shun also going to cancel it, but they've got Scout nearby and Alla, so maybe they're
watch the
laying
ball.
a trap. In goes Vampire again. The ball snaps back once more. Vampire with the Unbreakable Will. Going to be hard to kill, so JDG will just escort Shun and Missing out to safety.
Yeah, that wasn't it from Vampire again. If that ball snaps back, the threat of the Empowered Shockwave, of course, goes away. And that's not found, so no flash. Alistar's caused the pity flash and that hex flash, so ability for Vampire to make an impact, but a little bit of a missed opportunity there as JDG. I mean, they get themselves something. It still isn't a great spot for them. I think the biggest thing is just look at Shun's inventory compared to Monkey's, as he did complete the Triforce, and I guess the pet was spotted there. You can't really blame Cube for that one. I do think that, yeah. Maybe you could say he needs to take the long way, but again, you called it earlier, Slayer. He kitted a lot of MR going up against the Rumble and the Annie, as helps in the side lane matchup. But of course, Shun, he brought the fire, and
Cube. The flash too. Maybe the Kanik isn't getting as much value as we thought it was. All we know is Shun is really starting to run this map, and you point out he's at 2 items, and I'm glad that he's being the big dog on campus right now, because Karis and Taeyun are both at 2 items themselves as well, and you'd like to see WE fighting a bit more around those two.
Said a lot of oohs at a couple of oopsie flashes from WE today, Slayer.
A lot of oohs.
Yeah.
A lot of groans, too. More groans than I'd like to have on a broadcast.
Yeah. That was a bit of a dud there from Cube. I still think WE wins this game, Slayer. I still think their comp-out scales.
Okay.
Oriana's up a level and a half on Annie. This Annie is going to be useless.
So my question is for you then, if you believe in WE, I don't want to factor in how much emotional support that is right now. How do you see JDG swing this one in their favor in these next couple of minutes? We got the window with the Dragon up and Atacon up. What's the route they take? Hopefully not face checking Karis. Okay, we're fine.
I do think that Karis is the member to find. Taeyun's a little bit more slippery with the cleanse and the ultimate. So for me, Karis is priority target number 1 if you're JDG. But Missing, I will say, has opportunity for engage. But a lot of times on Rakan, I like when you are able to piggyback off of some frontliners, right? Can pop the quickness and an E before you W. With no flash and really no frontliners for Missing, I think it is a lot harder for him to engage.
Whoa, Monkey! Dragon wasn't the prize. It was Alla. They're going to flash after him as well. Taeyun gets the kill done, but it's Monkey again. The agency this guy brings to WE, proving pivotal once more. But even in the 5v4, JDG, they want to fight themselves through this Dragon. It's slowly getting chunked lower and lower.
They've not found Scout. Yep,
Scout's going in. Tipper's down onto 2. The quickness follows.
Nice.
Huge knockups onto the backline, but Shun can't get through because Cube and Vampire are holding them in place. Monkey gets the Dragon, and now it's time for the birds to sing the name of the World Elite. The Lamb's Respite only buys time for Shun, who cannot kite away from that Cassante. Pays, falls. Next one up is Shun. The turret will barely save them for now until Karis flashes after, maybe a little bit too precariously. Taeyun can't get the kills done. Shun gets a heal back and a shutdown. Taeyun once again, right when WE think they have a winning play, they overextend and lose it all. Alla finds Vampire, and JDG are saved from a disastrous Dragon fight loss.
I mean, that's what's required, though, for JDG to actually win these fights. It's just a disastrous chase from Team WE. And you can see, like, the initial fight, I mean, it's a good engage from Scout. Missing had good follow-up, but there's just not enough gas in the tank. Like, you have to overextend too much, and JDG is so squishy. And that Lamb's Respite, like, yes, it buys time, but this team is just so squishy compared to what WE has. They can't really stick around and find these fights, and speaking of sticking around, Monkey has stuck around. Let's see if he goes for the oink or not.
Is he going to do it? Nope.
No, he's out of there. All right, good Otacon secure. Otacon secure, of course, pretty nice. The takedowns also give you a little bit of a buff now, too. That's slow.
Yep.
Could be good, but I love this from Monkey and Team WE. Again, JDG, like, with how squishy Alva is. Oh, wait, we got to go back to live. Alva's dead again on live. As Monkey just turned around and found him. Again, cease and desist against Rumble. Like, no one can help him. So now you're fighting a 5v4 that, frankly, JDG feels like they have to take. I can't blame them too much for that, because I think their comp does, like, it's a lot harder to win later on. Vampire does a nice job at interrupting here, as Cube tries to get Shun away from the Dragon as it's secured by Monkey. The Shockwave was big from Karis, again, target number 1 here for JDG. The only member I haven't really mentioned for JDG is Pays, who, I mean, it still feels like he's doing his damnedest. The Rip Flash didn't quite connect. Vampire connected a nice stun there on the back half. And the only reason that JDG got anything from this is that WE, like, Karis just straight up shorted the QW. And then Taeyun just decided to, you know, give one over as Shun. Good hop from him. Just pick up the kill. But that's the only reason that, like, JDG gets anything. It's just mistakes from WE.
God. I finally understand what it was like to be a Falcons fan during that Super Bowl. Just watching WE. I mean, it's just like you got everything, and then you just give everything back. It hurts. I hope there aren't any WE Falcons fans out there. If there are, I'm sorry for what these last couple of minutes. Honestly, I'm sorry for what this series has done to you. Oh, okay. So all it just. Hey,
yeah,
you wanted some side lane disrespect, Cubby. You thought it was gone from this game.
No, it's not. Yeah, good luck against Vi. It's a toughie. And again, like, Vi just gets to play against all the squishies, so she gets to hunt. Even gold game. 1 dragon up for WE.
Because
we'll say Otacon and feats have been secured by JDG. That is two objectives that they haven't gotten in either of the first 2 games of this series. But I just don't think it matters or makes a difference, Slayer, because I look at the total HP bars of each of our teams, and then think of all the bonus tankiness that you get if you are Team WE versus, like, just a singular Lamb's Respite that's trying to hold you back from just the might of this WE squad. I love Monkey went Sterax first. I mean, that's just going to help him get even tankier, survive some of the burst damage. I think that's the right call. Shockingly, as I feel like LPL junglers at times are just like robots to build Sundered Sky Cleaver no matter what. I like the fact that Monkey actually switched it up this game. I feel like it's very appropriate. Seekers in for Karis. He is flashless, but that is one way that you can try and play defense against the JDG Wombo combo that's going to come down. So as the luxury items start to come in, just less ways that JDG can find these snap engages and really have convincing starts to fights, which they need if they want to win these fights.
They're just relying so much on 2 ultimates getting, like you call it, the Wombo. The Wombo has to get 9 out of 10 value every time it's used, or it feels impossible to play this game out. And how fun is it that WE, Cubbies, proclamation comes true, are going to keep their win streak alive, knocking down JDG. Oh, I mean,
I gotta say, like, I tweeted at the start of the day before the cast, I really feel like JDG, again, going through the tape, that top esports series, it should have been a JDG win. I really felt like, you know, they are competing with the top of the table. They should have taken care of business against WE, but I could argue this is a 3-0 for WE by the end of this one. As, Monkey gets there last second, smites that one away, says thanks for the leash. Knows now that Baron is clear of vision, too, since he got the empowered Baron up grab. So, big if WE want to sack that dragon and maybe threaten a Baron take.
Yeah, I think that's the right course of action. Nonetheless, Monkey is moving his way down towards the bot side. Missy is just itching for somebody to overextend and try and set up this combo. But again, JDG have to be so wary about throwing all their ultimates down and making sure they have enough damage and the correct targets, because without it, they just don't survive any sort of extended fight. Vampire looking for his pendant flank angle here. Cube going to be fine. Tanky Cassante can take some harassment, but W have to connect back with Vampire if they're going to decide to go in here. Looking for the stun onto Missing. They have the ball on top of Monkey. Missing going to get the charms down. Pays going to get hit by the Shockwave. Goes into the Featherstorm. Scout gets the big tippers down, but it's not going to be enough. The Equalizer doesn't get enough value, and the tank of Vampire holding the front line strong. Taeyun is full HP in the Drake Pit. Monkey, not the same sort of stature. Karis, no Shockwave available, as well as the Void Seeker nearly finds its mark onto Missing. Taeyun going to try and find his way in, but it's really hard to get close to Pays or Shun. So that wombo combo, while it was a bit messy, bought enough space for JDG to even up the Drake count.
Yeah, the big thing was that Monkey got chunked, right? So Shun was able to stay in the fight. Monkey had the base and go back, so at least evening up the Dragon score. Still, nothing really significant for JDG. I like WE showing some restraint there, Slayer. Still feel like as this game moves forward, when the luxury items come in, it's going to be harder and harder for JDG to find that big snap engage to delete someone off the face of the Summoner's Rift, which, again, they need to do if they want to win these fights. So I feel like WE intelligently showing that they were able to back off. They give that Dragon. They don't lose anything more. They don't lose a potential Baron threat. And now we'll see. Now, as this game goes forward, Shun is big. I'm starting to get ever so slightly concerned about Shun. There is a chance that Kindred can kind of run away with this game. I still think the JDG is far too squishy for like this to actually happen. I really feel like if you're going to go Rumble topside with this Annie, it's got to be something like a Wukong or that can hold the front line or buy space for Rumble and not this Kindred. But of course, Shun wanted the signature Kindred this game.
Yeah.
And has been the bright spot so far for JDG. So we'll see if him on a signature Kindred and missing on a signature Rakan, who has been having a decent game so far too, can really make the difference. And a game that I still feel like WE, the comp they have is very favorable and a lot easier to play out.
I think what we saw in that last fight, though, that can sort of help JDG down the line is if you allow Pays and Shun to not die to this Vi Orianna Shockwave, like as we keep talking about Shun scaling, the range difference is really scary. You need to gap close onto a very fit Kindred with a ton of range, and the Xayah is particularly safe as well.
Yeah.
Again, like you're talking about, it does require a lot of discipline, a lot of pristine clicks from these two guys. But this is JDG, this is Shun and Pays, two guys that were brought in here for those clicks in big moments like this Game 3. And that is a big threat for WE's win con.
But again, to really like build the super team, and that like this series is truly shocking. Like JDG was one of the super teams, and when I look at them in IG, well, I really feel like JDG was a super team that like excited me a lot. The one that for me was more likely to perform when we were going into the start of the LPL season. The fact that we are sitting here at the start of May, we have a like WE versus JDG being competitive and like a series win here. I mean, WE again would be almost even with JDG in the standings being at 6-6 with an even game score. JDG after this would be 6-5 with an even game score. The fact that these two teams are so close in the standings that WE would be on a 6-series win streak after starting 0-6 is just ballistic to think about. When you think about this team's identity or trajectory at the start of the year, I know what Molecule said, like it's just 5 rejects on this team. And it really does feel like it's 5 rejects from a lot of other teams. I mean, Karis and Taeyun, right, sent here from the LCK. Monkey couldn't find his way on the EDG or BLG. Cube has been quite the journeyman that we have in the LPL. And then Vampire is still a little bit of a fresher face. So we'll give Vampire a bit of the benefit of the doubt there. But still, not pictured as the best support that we had in the LPL. And this team is actually decent. Like, they're actually playing well. And challenging the likes of JDG. It's just crazy to think about it if you really put in perspective the expectations for this team at the start of the year.
Cubby, I think I'm going to crack the code. Is something you said there. I don't want to give. I'm going to give a little bit of free promo over here. But you said group of 5 rejects. What? Somebody that's into conspiracy theories needs to research this one. When did the major Thunderbolts? Sort of marketing happen, and when did WE start their run? Because I'm seeing way too many ties together right now. I got a
better one for you. What about Sinners? I mean, Vampire's on the Rift.
That's
when did Sinners come out, and when did WE start winning? I feel like that's the signs. We need to start thinking about modern film. Yeah. The tariffs don't affect Team WE, that's for sure.
But here's the thing for the Thunderbolts point, too. So now they're renaming Thunderbolts to New Avengers, which is reclassifying them as like a bigger fish in the market. And if WE win here, they demand the respect of the LPL market. There's too much. We're diving down too big of a rabbit hole, and there's a huge stakes fight coming here. JDG.
Sinners, original film in an IMAX being successful. No one saw that one come. Okay, we actually have to pause.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Into nothing.
JDG trying to set up an angle onto the fight, threaten the Baron, but Monkey WE, they do not fall for it. They take the mid-tier 1, and they'll come back off and
this might be a Kai'Sa solo, and we'll see if JDG feels frisky enough to actually start the Baron.
All right. Game of chicken between these big neutrals. Shun's going to start it. Kindred, Xayah burn through this Baron if they get too much time, and you're seeing it right now. Taeyun's trying to come back up here. W are going to have to start this fight without their AD carry, but JDG are looking for the turn first. There's the big tippers, and they find the pick onto Karis. No shockwave available for WE, and now they're completely split off. Down goes Cube. Scout, the guy, the veteran that was making so many mistakes earlier on in this series, might have just found the one ultimate on Annie that seals the Baron for JDG.
I mean, missing falls. Who cares if you're a JDG? As the Dragon Gambit, JDG were on the Baron before they saw the Dragon fall, and it will pay off in a Baron for JDG. So the setup rings true, and Scout, returning from base, connects with a really big Tibbers. I mean, that pretty much just, like, the fight ended before it started, right? And that's exactly what JDG needs to do if they want to win. So down a man, and at a really good angle, threatening the objective, Scout's able to find the pinch. As again, good pull off the Baron. Scout, the flash ult. Karis not able to connect. It was the W that proc the stun. The ult that came after. Tibbers able to do some solid shredding. Cube and able to get out of this one, even despite the unstoppable. Great setup for JDG as Team WE. They were split. Taeyun was on that Dragon. JDG capitalized.
And one of the pain points in this series for WE, closing out games, but most importantly, closing them out with Baron. This is just the first Baron that JDG have been able to grab, I believe, in the series, maybe second. And we keep talking about, you know, championship pedigree, what spots, despite how close the series has been, define the difference between these two teams. I think how this Baron is conducted from JDG might just show the true gap against them in WE.
Vampire lying in wait. I was going to be caught.
Okay. Great stasis. Shockwave gets nothing. How much does JDG want to get off the back of that? They might feel a lot more confident starting fights without that big wombo. Missing goes flying in there, trying to get a flash out. How much can
JDG get? I think the Shockwave is really important for WE. It can
so
really
vital.
hold. Yeah, it can hold a lot of space. It's a threat against Pays, who is really fed at this point. I don't think that WE wants to pull the trigger without Shockwave available for Karis on that trigger pull. So will be that top inner falling and that mid inhibitor turret nearly falling. As WE, they have bent, but not they've yet to be broken here, Slayer.
Yes.
And I know it's a gold deficit, and those 2 LDRs can be a little bit scary here. That might be enough to maybe help slingshot JDG back. I feel like Infernal Soul, though, would still be pretty deadly.
Yeah. I just think now, by this point, where Shun and Pays are at, I mean, level 18 Xayah, we're 4.5 items deep.
Yeah.
Similar spot for Shun. Like, you have to get to one of them in a fight now.
I mean, I still see Scout flashless and with no Zanyas or stasis up, and for me, that's like the screaming, blinking light, like, please WE, go attack Scout, right?
Okay.
Because if he finds these engages too, we have seen that be the big difference maker for JDG. So I think that's like where WE should look. But their pop needs to be big. When they use their ults, it needs to be big. Because again, Taeyun as the Kai'Sa into the Kindred and the Xayah can't really function.
It's impossible to play. It's impossible
without that
to play.
ultimate. Yeah.
Partly why he may be indexed into that AP build is we see the Void Staff and the Zanyas alongside the Nashor's
like it.
Tooth.
Yeah. I mean, he's got all 3 evolves. Obviously, Kai'Sa scales so damn well. So I think it makes a lot of sense this game. You see a TP from Ala, and Monkey to take the inner, and you're going to scare him off this. Okay, not bad.
Longer lane and mid lane, and the Baron drops off, and WE at the very least, they keep their base intact, which is a big win. Do we just give? How much stock do they put into trying to stop this next dragon, though? Because right now it's really hard to even allocate leaving anywhere near outside base radius. They can catch some waves up, but it's a really scary thought to try and all in for this last dragon. I think you lose the game if you're not able to really win a fight after grabbing Infernal Soul.
I think they can check some stuff with Cube, and yeah, with these Kaisa Ws. And with Taeyun, I believe having, W evolve at this point, you can see how fast he can fire these out. They don't do hella chunks.
He's got to hit them, too.
Yeah, I mean, if it hits, it refreshes a good chunk of the cooldown, and so far the hit rate's pretty good. 2 on the phase. He does have some lifesteal.
Damn, okay,
Taeyun's been damn good with these so far. 5 seconds till the dragon spawns. Important Scout is still tucked away in the WE jungle, and Scout is yet to be spotted. Scout does have flash up again.
Oh my god, but look at how quickly Kindred Zaya ripped that dragon. Monkey flying in as well after Shun, who's easily saving the equalizer from Ala, is going to cut off Cube and Vampire. Flying in is Taeyun next. Pays buying so much space. The Lamb's Respite. The knockup from Vampire. They can't kill. Pays off. And boom goes the dynamite in the name of Shun. Gets the heal. Flying after Karis next. Shun will not relent. And sure, Taeyun finds himself safe on the back end of this fight. But he has no control left over the pit. No control left over the lanes. And Scout is hunting for him. You see how close he gets to this. No, he's not going to catch him. But Taeyun, the only one for WE able to survive.
That fight was crazy close. I cannot believe that Pays lived as long as he did, and I can't believe that Shun walks out of there either, as he lived with 1 HP. Oh, wait. Ult and 2. 1 for Taeyun. Yep.
Oh, he's going. He's going for it. Cleanses the stun. Can Taeyun do it? No! Shun survives again. It's just a 1-for-1.
Oh, Taeyun down for 62. Of course, both teams at soul point now. And what continues to be a banger series here, Slayer. I just want to replay it because Pays flashed into the Lamb's Respite at like 1 HP. Yeah, here we go. All right, so Monkey's going to pull the trigger after Pays gets pretty low. The poke from Taeyun actually added up in this fight. Monkey goes in. The ball ends up finding Pays here as Cube. It's a great Q3. And Pays, like, how he lived. Oh my god, the auto was mid-air. Again, he lived through all this. Vampire did a great job of clearing space, but that was a lot of cooldowns they had to burn on Pays, and he got the rip off that killed 2 people pretty much in the back half. If Pays dies earlier, I legitimately think that WE wins that fight. The fact that he lived throughout it, that's the dragon picked up. They get the Baron off the back half of that. And JDG off of an auto being in midair and flashing into Lamb's Respite for me, that's really what just picked him up that last Baron.
Frame differences is what
it's so close.
It's so close.
Shun lived with 1 HP, and then Taeyun like was 1 auto attack away from finding that 1v2 pretty much. That was crazy.
It's just the little things not going WE's way, and it's what we go back to talking about, that this is a super team for JDG with much loftier aspirations, a team born out of friendship, trying through that to capture LPL titles, compete as a Titan, not just here and internationally. And in those big, tense, clutch moments, they seem to prevail when it matters most. And now, mostly about going through the motions, but this game is still close enough where you feel like WE, if they can put everything together one more time, find June, find Pays, this game can open back up for them.
I do really like this pocket that Vampire's in. He's kind of carved out a nice little potential place there. Going to regroup with the team. I will say a lot of flashes are down after that fight. None available. So it's only Auto that has the flash up. That really speaks to how electric that last fight was. Again, cannot believe the margin that both of these teams played that last fight on. That was so damn close, Slayer.
Can WE find something even deeper down within them? They're just going to get chunked down. Their turrets cut down by a Kindred that is so infinitively scaled at 12 stacks. And
Shun.
It's just so hard to even
get
near this Kindred at this point.
What range do you even have at 12 stacks, right? Because it's a 4-7-10 breakpoint on the Kindred. So, yeah, Shun looks like he's got like 675 plus, or like around that range. He's outranging the Zaya. And again, as Kaisa, as the Kaisa, it's really tough. Because you pretty much only can go in with R, and that is your shotgun comp. So, we're going to see Vampire on a big flank here.
Wrapping around.
This is the hope.
Nexus turret's getting chunked down by these cannon minions. At some point, W, you have to go. You cannot let them whittle you down one by one. Vampire shows, flies in. Shun gets headbutted. Once again, Monkey flies in as well, but JDG stave off the play very, very well. Get back together as 5.
Still lose the turret.
Yeah, they lose the turret. Vampire doesn't have his ultimate anymore, so WE are starting to run out of tools.
It's a one-way trip for Vampire.
There's no more hemorrhaging left. WE are getting cut down. The equalizer burning through so many members. Monkey's up in the air. Monkey's down. Pays gets a huge blade caller back. Shun pops the stasis to try and save himself, but AWE are completely scattered. It's the double marksmen that bring home the series for JDG.
I really cannot believe that JDG won this series 2-1. And I can't believe that Pays lived in those last 2 fights. The GA into the Lamb's Respite was fantastic. That Dragon fight was one of the closest fights I've seen in the LPL so far. As Pays living with that auto going through midair as he connects with the Lamb's Respite was ballistic. Really speaks to what the series was. And it felt like JDG just outclassed Team WE at the end of the day. It wasn't JDG's best day on the Rift, but it was good enough to win. And that last game, that was a really squishy comp. They were actually able to pilot off the back of Shun on that signature Kindred. Felt like he was a big difference maker with Pays, again, just being that consistent rock for JDG that really feels like he has just been finding other levels that other LPL AD carries cannot in the bot lane.
And as we talked about so many times with this roster for JDG, with all the experience they have, Cubby, there's champions that they could just go back to and feel comfortable no matter what the scenario is. You highlighted the Rakan for missing nearly 80% win rate. The awesome Kelsey Moser shouted out the fact that Shun, 70+ win rate on a ton of games on the Kindred, and they just knew that through those champions and their much more calm, collected approach to those team fights, no matter how close it got, they felt like they had it in the bag and they bring it home to separate themselves from the pack.
I feel like I almost misassessed that game in a way because I was really confident that WE, just with a beefier comp, would be able to pull that one off, but when the mid-game plays went sideways, then once that Kindred just got as big as it did, and that thing was an astronomical game changer, right? Like, Shun could not be touched by the composition of Team WE. I feel like that's what really kind of shifted the game back in JDG's favor. As you called out a couple times, the double marksman comp was just huge. And, I mean, what an interesting series still. Like, because WE, this was a team, I know that this breaks their 5-series win streak, but no one expected them to be as competitive as they have been. And for JDG, they continue to kind of move up the standings, threaten that top 4, but a series like this still leaves a lot of questions in terms of what we're expecting out of this team in the long run, and it doesn't feel like they've really reached that mantle of the super team or the team that could contend to go international yet for LPL. So still need to see a lot from them, but hey, backs up against the wall. They did clutch up in that game 3.
Big to see with how grueling of a format this is. This is JG's first stage game on 15.9, but they come out on top with the win. The flip side of this, though, is WE is such an interesting sample size now, right? 6-game loss streak, 5-game win streak. I'm curious if they can just find their own set of consistency, because as fun as the streakiness is, Cubby, it's just not sustainable.
I mean, I think that, again, that game was really winnable for WE. Like, when we go back through some of those replays, I've got the overextension in mid. They got Shun the kill on the Taeyun. I think that one hurt a lot. And, oh, dear Lord, that topside damage. I mean, obviously, that's kind of what the champions do at a time. But, jeez, that... man, Shun, I wonder who the player of the game is going to be for this game, Slayer.
Oh, I wonder.
Any guesses?
Man. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Monkey. Oh, wait, my bad.
Wrong jungler.
No.
Yeah.
Wrong jungler. Yeah.
Again, Shun and Pays, like, these guys, it feels like at times have been the 2 best performers on JDG. They really showed up in the back half. Shouts to missing.
Taeyun nearly has 50% damage share, by the way. That's an unheard of number.
Well, just kind of how the comp went that game.
Yeah.
Again, looking at some of these highlights, I mean, I really want to get to the one dragon, or, I mean, there were 3 dragon fights that were insane.
Not this one.
Oh, no, this was the one that WE won pretty convincingly. And I thought got them off to a really good start. This ult from Cube was crazy. He got on one side of the wall, Pays was on the other, ended up being stuck. They really made work in this fight. With Vampire also even, like, bumping out all the back end was pretty hype.
Yeah.
So that was a fun one. But, dude, okay, yeah, they pulled this one off on the Scout as a 1-for-1. I want to see the dragon fight where they overextended.
Yeah, I want to see that one.
that for me was when Shun started to get really big. And it broke the game. Okay, we're actually not going to get that one. This was a close one.
I think this is the one you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, it is. No, you're right. The back half. God, I feel like that was the one fight that Pays might have stepped up a little bit too far. But even if he has a better flash there, he might have been able to rip Monkey and actually take him down. Again, this one Pays fantastic ult, gets out of the shockwave, able to space everything in the back half.
Yeah.
Him versus Taeyun was a close one, but managed to navigate his way out, reset the fight. Again, every fight we see Pays has just been fantastic. And then JDG really cracked the game open when it was a dragon take for Taeyun. Couldn't join the fight. Scout came back, pulled the trigger. That was a really big win. And then this fight from Pays was ballistic.
I hope they slow down that auto so we can just see how close this was. Because, I mean,
I mean, how does he live? If he dies, this game for me is over. Because the vampire combo comes down on the Shun here, by the way, instead of Pays. So I really feel like that was like the game-deciding play. That was just, I mean, that is the slimmest of margins you can play League of Legends on. It truly is.
And while I know this game 3 does show like a sort of a kind of out you can give WE in the sense like, you know, these small little changes in the fights, like they just didn't fall your way, right? The chips didn't fall your way this time. Taeyun could have won the 1v2, but looking at the series holistically, I don't have a ton of sympathy for WE in this game, knowing that
game 1.
This should have been a 2-0. This really should have been a 2-0.
Oh, game one was such a crime. I'm still thinking back to the Taeyun Arcane shift. I say a lot of, you know, ahs, ums, and ohs. It's not a great habit of mine, but that one truly left me speechless, sadly. It's interesting. Like, again, I think the evolution of Team WE, if Taeyun can hit some of the form that we saw from him a little bit earlier in the split in the year, I think that could be something that could unlock another level for Team WE.
Yeah.
Again, that 1v2, like the W from Kaisa went, I don't know if he meant to hit Scout or not. Obviously, he got through Scout, not Shun, who ended up taking him down. And, oh boy, would you look at that. What a surprise, Slayer.
Oh my god. Exodia King Druid takes the MVP. Well, nonetheless, Shun, well-deserved. Talked about how on a team where Pays is Mr. Consistent and the solo lanes can have their moments that we saw in this series. I'm glad to say that Shun has shown that he can step up to a different level, especially in these last couple of series for JDG, to get them to 7-4. That will wrap up our first series of the day. So, Cubby, any final thoughts here before we say sayonara to you and get into our next series?
No, that was a lot of fun, man. I appreciate you for joining me for that one. Everyone at home, we got a fun one coming up, but yeah, hopefully it can match some of the chaos that we had in this series, which was quite interesting.
Well, we're going to get two teams in very different scenarios when it comes to Group Ascend right now. A sliding Invictus Gaming taking